Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
January 11, 2021, the Character Matters edition. And we'll start with that lead story from the New York Times Deal book with an article entitled, "When Business and Politics Mix, Character Really Matters. What Should Corporate Leadership Do in a Time Like This?" Andrew Ross Sorkin, editor of the Deal book, had a really interesting piece this Saturday where he looked at, or rather did, an short interview with Lloyd Blankenfeld, the former chief executive of Goldman Sachs. And he really talked about the need for good character as a business leader. Of course, he is the person who allowed J-Lo to involve Goldman Sachs in one of the greatest bribery schemes of all time. Nevertheless, he recognized that Trump's character has come to the fore, particularly in his attempted leading an insurrection, and that businesses need to be aware of the character of their leaders. Also was an interview with Judy Samuelson, founder of the Aspen Institute on Business and Society Programs, about the siege of the Capitol, and she talked about the role of the corporate citizen. And many pointed out that many businesses are pulling money from the GOP, and now there have been several who said they are not going to donate to those who voted against Pence being acknowledged as president-elect. Some disturbing news from the Wall Street Journal as the Honduran president has been implicated in the drug trade. New York federal prosecutors made new allegations that the Honduran president, a key Trump administration ally, in efforts to stop illegal immigrants, received millions of dollars from drug traffickers to help export tons of cocaine to the U.S. You only have to now wonder, was the U.S. looking the other way? Perhaps not with this new indictment. Next up, also from the Wall Street Journal, companies examine the Capitol riots they call it the riots, the insurrection, for security issues. Even though the Wall Street Journal has mischaracterized it because it was an insurrection, it does provide some important lessons for corporate security and CEOs who the article says need to bring their corporate security in and have a very serious talk. We've had numerous death threats involved in poll workers and Georgia election officials. So unfortunately, this is not going to go away. And you need to figure out how you're going to protect your corporation. And now, in the era of coronavirus, that means from home. Obviously, hardened targets in the business setting are ubiquitous after 9/11, but that may not be true for executives or even employees working from home. And finally, our last article comes from the Financial Times, and it's in the what is risk category, as Iran has seized a South Korean tanker last week and says that it's South Korea said that Iran seized it so they could get access to cash, which the Trump administration has held illegal under various sanctions regimes. So it may be that your foreign subsidiary could be in deep trouble, even if it's not a U.S. flagged boat or subsidiary. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.